Hey guys, it's Benjamin with Benjamin Exotics, and in today's Morph Guide, we're going to be taking a look at the pastel ball python. So believe it or not, there's actually a lot of people that I've seen that have asked me or other people asking, other breeders whether or not their ball pythons that they've produced or that they've bought are actually pastels. Even though the pastel is like probably one of the most, if not the most, produced ball python morph ever. And you can go on Morph Market right now, as of recording this video, there's like at least five ads of normals that are labeled as pastels and the other way around, pastels that are labeled as normals. And most people that are, even relatively experienced will be able to tell one from the other, but lots of newer breeders are actually having a really hard time identifying one from the other. And as you guys can probably guess, you can really screw somebody over if someone, was relatively inexperienced and bought a normal as a pastel, or even the other way, a pastel as a normal, which would really kind of be screwing the breeder and benefiting the buyer. I can understand how it can be hard to identify some of them, okay, because the pastel lines that I work with are like easy to identify. That's a pastel. But lots of the other lines that are more of a gold color, especially as babies, are kind of hard to identify, especially to new keepers. So we can go ahead and I'm going to turn around and show you guys the rack behind me. We're going to look at a bunch of pastels. I'm going to show you guys how to identify kind of a normal from a pastel, not just in the color, but with the blushing, the head pattern, and all this different kinds of stuff. So let's get straight into the video. So if we look at this rack right here, we can actually take a look at a normal and a pastel, and I'm going to show you guys. Now, like I said, all of the lines of pastel that I work with, I specifically pick out to be very bright as adults. And I'm going to tell you guys, probably in the next minute or so, kind of my philosophy behind identifying the best pastels to look the best as adults. But let's go ahead and look right here. This is your standard normal. This is my big normal zucchini. And again, you can see just your classic normal. Not too much blushing. You can see a little bit of blushing right there on his back. And overall, pretty standard normal, okay? He is a brown coloration. And if we look at his head, while his head is kind of lighter than the rest of his body, we're actually not getting very good light in this tub. Let's go ahead and pull him out, set him right up here. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. You can kind of see really nice colors, really nice pattern, especially for a normal. But if we look at his head, okay, it's lighter than a black. It's like a brown, but it's not really blushed out like a pastel would be. And again, you have a little spot right there of blushing, and on the sides, maybe a little bit of blushing, but for the most part, it's a really jet black going down this guy's back. Now I'm going to show you guys a pastel female that just laid a clutch of eggs. So kind of a warning of why she looks really skinny. This is not a snake that hasn't been fed or anything. This is a snake that just laid eggs. This is more or less your standard pastel, okay? She is a possible het lavender albino, but I'm not sure that she's going to prove out to be. But let me show you guys the difference between her. Now, first of all, you can easily see her coloration, okay? She's a very gold in color compared to the male. And this is kind of, I'll share with you guys my way of identifying pastels are going to look the best as adults. As babies, if you see a baby pastel that has kind of this coloration, that's a gold as a baby, that snake is probably going to brown out and really turn into a brown as an adult. If you see yellow on the top, the yellow will turn into kind of this goldish color, and any orange that you see on the sides are going to turn to yellow as an adult. So if you have a really high orange pastel, I would expect the animal to have a lot of these really nice yellows going along the side as an adult. So there's a little tip for you guys. But when we look at this pastel, besides just the golding, and you can see all the yellow on the sides, that's not how all pastels might be. Like I said, some pastels can really brown out, and I mean really brown out, like turn brown as adults, and not all pastels will have as high yellow as this girl. So we want to look at some other key characteristics. If we look at the back, okay, unlike that male that was more of a, just pitch black going along the pattern on his back, here you can see we have blushing there, a little bit of blushing there, but all around the snake's body you see lots of blushing on the back. And whether it be with a pastel, just a straight pastel like this, or the pastel combination like a Pastel Clown that I'll show you guys in a second, it's going to add all of this blushing along the back. And then the next characteristic we can look at is the head, okay? The head on these guys is just a very easy sign. You can see with the male normal I just showed you, the head is a little bit lighter than the black, but if we get a really good look at this girl's head, okay, See if we can get a good shot of that. Hopefully we're in good lighting. You can see it really blushes out at the back. This isn't the best example, but you can kind of see right there. See how our head is really blushed at the back? Super pastels will be really blush, but with this girl you can easily see that pastel influence right there. And then also on the front of the snake's face. It isn't always so I guess easy to identify, but if you look at the pastel's lips, okay, the lips on the front, they're almost kind of like a white as babies a lot of the time, and they'll kind of turn yellow as an adult. We're trying to get a good shot right there. Focus, come on. Okay, see how it's like yellow on the end? Just like that. That is another example of how a pastel is going to be completely different from a normal. So if we actually go ahead and put her back in her cage, I can go ahead and show you guys that normal again. Come on, sweetheart. She's grabbing onto my cord. There we go. So we put her back in her cage and we go back to that normal male and we look at the, like, kind of the end of the lip pattern, if you will. Again, you're not going to have that yellowing effect like you would. Gotta take this log out for a second and pull him up here. We're really not getting the best lighting in the tub, so up here we'll get relatively good lighting with the lights. But if we look at the end of this guy's nose, he's kind of fighting me here. You can see, going to be completely, come on, buddy. If you look at the end there, you're not going to have the yellowing effect that you would on a pastel. Right there, see? It's kind of a grayish, you have a little bit of white on the lip, but at the very end, you're not going to have that yellowing that you would have as a pastel. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys another example of a pastel, just to kind of show you that there is a little bit of a variation between how much blushing animal could have and how much, you know, of these traits I'm talking about with the head blushing and with the, you know, yellow on the lips. There is going to be a little bit of a variance between animal to animal. Now this is actually a pastel het clown, 100% het clown. So we know that she has the clown trait as well, so that's going to affect her pattern a little bit. She is normally a little bit more squirmy than that other pastel, but we're going to pull her up here. And again, she was a very, very high orange animal as a baby. So we can see on her sides all of this brilliant, just amazing yellow, and she's going to try to escape on me. But if we pull her back over here, again, you can see on the end of her nose, we gotta move this tub, or not the tub lid. Okay, if we go ahead and we actually look at her nose, okay, again, it'll focus, kind of hard to do with one hand. You can see on the end of her lip, kind of right below her nose, she's going to have all that yellow like a standard pastel. And again, on the head, she's probably even more blushed out than the other pastel I just showed you, but on the back of the head, all of that lighter color is more of the blushing. Now with this girl, as you can see, the blushing we talked about going down her back, she doesn't have barely any of it at all, actually. So we can actually look in the sides for that. You can see a little bit blushing there, a lot of blushing right there on the back, but besides that, it's relatively black. So that can kind of show you the variation between pastel to pastel. Again, this girl is a really nice gold color, so it's not even, you know, a question of whether or not she's a pastel, but hopefully this will help you guys when you're looking at, especially babies, if you are working with a darker line of pastel, to identify whether or not that gene is floating around in your snake, your ball python, whether it be a combination, or for some people, like I've seen on Morph Market, it can be hard to identify just a single gene pastel. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an example of how pastel is going to interact with other genes. I'm trying to give you guys kind of a good idea of what to look about or to look for when you are putting pastel with other genes. Now this is actually a pastel clown, which is right there. We're going to be looking in that tub to show you guys, and I can put up a picture of a normal clown right here. I'm sure you guys know what a normal clown looks like, but we can put up a picture right now, and that is what a normal clown ball python is going to look like. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the pastel clown version of that and kind of see how that pastel is really going to influence the clown as a whole, not just with the colors and the gold and the yellow in the sides, but with the blushing, the head stamp, and all kinds of other stuff. So let's go ahead and pull this guy out. So in here we have a pastel clown male. Kind of be hard to maneuver this with one hand, and he's probably hiding under the bed, and he isn't always the, oh no, he's sitting right there. I probably should have seen that when I looked in, but you can see he's a little bit hissy and he's really not the friendliest snake, but we can see very easily. Now this is again just a single pastel clown, and a really nice example at that. You can see all of this really nice yellow in the sides, and then this really nice gold color on the top, and that again, you can look at that and just really easily tell, because this is a really bright pastel clown that, boom, this has pastel in it. But for some of your darker lines, you could really wonder, you know, does it actually have pastel in it or not? So for a second, let's completely forget all this amazing gold and yellow on the sides and take a look at this snake's back. Compared to that normal clown that you guys just saw, this animal is completely blushed out. Now this is actually probably an extremely blushed out clown. Normally they'll be pretty close to this, but this animal is just exceptionally nice on its back, and you can see all of that would be black on a normal clown is really blushed out. And then let's also take a look at this animal's head. Now we can put up the picture again really quickly. You can look at the normal head on a clown ball python and then take a look at the head on the pastel clown. I mean, you can see completely blushed out right there at the back. It has really nice just green eyes, just really beautiful, and then all of that pattern and really interesting look on the front of this pastel clown's head really can tell you guys that this has pastel in it. And even if you throw, you know, fire, yellow belly, all kinds of other genes into this, you're still going to see this blushing, and you're still going to get that really cool blushed out head effect on your pastel clowns. And this can be put for anything, you know, whether it be, you know, bumblebees or lemon blast, you're going to get this relatively close effect. Now, for some of your other genes that might not have so much black on their backs, you might not see as much blushing with them. So at that point, you really want to look for just this gold effect and all of this brilliant yellow on the sides. You can also see, look at that. That's just really stunning. All of this blushed out sides right here as well. So not only do we have blushing going on the head, or not really blushing, but just, you know, all this white on the back of the head and on the back, but all along the sides of this snake, just like in your classic pastel, you're going to see all of this blushing really taking a really heavy influence and making this animal look just absolutely stunning compared to your average clown. Oh, and by the way, another thing that, again, it's going to be same on the clowns, it's going to be same on a lot of other genes when you put pastel with that. If we can get this to focus, let's go ahead and look at the end of that guy's face. As you can see, right on the top lip, we have all of that yellow coming in from the pastel influence, as well as the blushing on this guy's head. Hopefully we can really give you guys a good close-up shot. I mean, just stunning on the end of that. You can see just completely yellowed out on the top of that guy's lip. And there you guys go. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's morph guide, and I mean, this is a really cool series. I'm so excited to start it, and we have a bunch more genes lined up besides just pastel, you know, Mojave, pinstripe spider, you know, lesser, the list goes on and on and on. So I hope these videos are benefiting you guys a lot with identifying, you know, whether or not, whether it be pastel or other genes we'll cover on the future, are in other combos or just singly, you know, is it a pastel, is it a normal, what is the gene we're actually looking at and trying to identify. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.